Joining us now, former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin. So I'm interested in this. I'm not a guy who loves the lawsuit thing all the time. I think we're too litigious in our society. But I do like that these students are suing the college, and they're not asking for money.
They're desperate.
They're just saying, let me just do college. Let all of us do college. Is this a model for what could happen at other places around
I would
the
expect there to be other suits filed. I mean, you pay all this money for tuition. It's now time to study for the final exams. And you're being denied entry to a library because you're Jewish. I think that if I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars in tuition, I might want my money back. The administration has a responsibility to have a setting that's free of harassment. You shouldn't feel like your ability to get from a dorm room to a classroom should be one that's filled with threats and folks with physical confrontation or shouting out death to America.
Right, obviously.
So I could see there being more suits just because these students are so desperate.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of Michigan says this is all about free speech, and I think part of the problem is coming within government itself. So listen to this.
It is incredibly disturbing, though, you all, that my colleagues are so quick to denounce the student protesters, but are silent about these young people, about why they are protesting. I want all the Democrats and Republicans to know they cannot arrest their way out of this growing dissent. Every corner of our country, people of different faiths, different color, skin, ethnicity, backgrounds of different types are coming together and saying Palestinians deserve to live.
Yes. How do you respond to that?
I mean, I'll tell you, everything you need to know about Rashida Tlaib. October 7th was a rallying cry.
Right.
Yep.
And she didn't come out with a statement that was condemning Hamas and the executions and the hostage taking and the rapes and the beheadings. So she told us everything that we need to know about Rashida Tlaib. She is not defending any of these students. And when you talk about protected First Amendment free speech, there is a protection that only goes so far. When you start committing all these additional crimes, and you're engaged in trespassing, vandalism, and much more, you start to lose that protection. For Rashida Tlaib, her role as a member of Congress, pushing out Hamas, pro-Hamas propaganda, is amplified. Her efforts are multiplied when you have this going on campuses. She's not bothered when some Jewish student is denied entry into a library. The moment that you see Rashida Tlaib trying to claim moral clarity by saying that it is wrong to be targeting Jewish students and passionately sticking up for them as well, maybe someone might start giving her a second look. But for now, she's shown us who she is.
I want to pivot also sort of closer to home. Denver migrants are sending the mayor a list of demands that they want. We have a screen on them. They want fresh food. They want regular medical visits. They want work permits. They want consultations with immigration lawyers. How did we get here?
The migrants aren't in charge. These are illegal aliens who come to our country. They do not respect our rule of law. There are other people who wanted to come to our country, but because they respected a process, they still aren't here. And to get right to the front of the line, where not only are you able to get into the country, but you show up inside of a city and they say, these are my demands.
I know.
I think that the government needs to reassert itself in a way to be respected, saying we have a rule of law. You haven't followed these rules. And quite frankly, do a better job representing the rest of the people who live in the city who are getting really upset, including, by the way, longtime Democrat voters.
Yes.
You see them show up at a Chicago City Council meeting. They are passionately speaking up, saying, well, hold on a second. You're now prioritizing people who aren't even legally in the country over me. We have our own concerns in this community.
Yeah. Congressman, stay with us because we want to get your take on this story as well. This week, 15 House Democrats from battleground districts are calling on President Biden to take executive action on the border crisis as the election is approaching. Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram joins us now. Hi, Chad.
Jackie, good afternoon. Republicans hammer Democrats. They say they're weak on border security, but 15 vulnerable Democrats from swing districts are fighting back. They insist on executive action from the president amid the border crisis.
So when the president delivers, whatever party he's a member of, I'm going to praise and appreciate that on behalf of my constituents. And when he doesn't, I'm going to call that out and say, hey, you need to step up, Mr. President.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is disappointed that Congress stumbled trying to pass a border security package, but McConnell wants movement from the president, too.
I'd say you ought to do something about this to the maximum extent of your ability. So there must be more this administration can do, not just blame Congress for not passing legislation.
The Democrats are taking a page from the GOP playbook, demanding executive action. This move allows some Democrats to build a firewall between themselves and an unpopular president ahead of the election. Jackie?
Chad Pergram, thank you so much. We're back with former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin. Congressman, this is about securing the border. We know that we have had this problem under this president. He knows all about it, too. And now you've got Democrats saying, do something.
Right. We need to hear from blue city mayors, blue state governors, members of Congress to call on the president to use the powers that we know the president has right now to be able to secure the border. President Trump, when he was in office, showed all sorts of powers that prove that the president has the power to close the border. President Biden comes in on day one. It was like number one priority when he first took the oath to open the border utilizing his powers. President Biden does not need an act of Congress in order to step up in all sorts of key ways to be able to close the border. And we see it with catch and release, which can be stopped. The construction of the border wall, which was stopped. The Remain in Mexico policy got rid of. Title 42 he got rid of. President Biden proved that there are a lot of powers that the executive branch has right now. And I think it's important for more congressional Democrats to speak up.
We're looking at live pictures. You can see this is at MIT right now. So protesters being arrested. Remember, MIT just this week, too, were the guys who said, we're not going to do DEI in hiring anymore.
Right.
So we're going to scrap that. Now, I thought it was kind of silly for them to say we're going to scrap it because it didn't work, when in fact the reason is because it's fundamentally unfair to have that kind of test for hiring. But you look at this, connected to the migrants for a second, because, the folks in Denver are calling for this list of demands. I don't think they came up with that. Don't you think it's the same guys organizing this who are telling them, here's how you claim your demands? I mean, these things are linked, aren't they?
There is an infrastructure on the left that we've seen now across different causes, different years.
Yes.
We all witnessed this 4 years ago. Last time we had a presidential campaign and people were taken to the streets. There's funding that comes from some of the same people who helped fund the effort years ago are out there funding this. And I think that we should, as Americans, know more about that infrastructure, that there should be accountability. When there should be a congressional testimony where the FBI director isn't just lecturing us like years ago, saying that the number one domestic terror threat is, white nationalism or white supremacy. It's 2024. We all see with our own eyes this footage that's happening from college campuses in the street. Let's be honest, our government needs to be telling us exactly why this is happening, how it's happening, where it's happening, and what they're going to do about it.
Exactly.
Well said.
Rashida Tlaib says it's just this growing dissent that we have to put up with.
Right.
Congressman, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. We appreciate it.
Really well said.
Yeah.